There is a moment every woman has experienced. The moment she looks into a man's eyes and wonders, what is he really thinking? And what does he secretly wish I would ask? Because here is something few people talk about. Men may appear confident, calm, and unreadable on the outside, but beneath that quiet strength is a world of thoughts, dreams, fears, and desires they rarely put into words. Most women try to build attraction by saying more, doing more, or trying harder to impress. But true connection does not begin with performance. It begins with curiosity. It begins with asking the kind of question that makes him stop, smile, lean in and think, wow, no one has ever asked me that before. That is where chemistry changes. That is where attention becomes fascination. Because when a woman knows how to speak to a man's mind, touch his heart, and awaken the deeper part of who he is, not with pressure, but with soft confidence, she becomes unforgettable. Suddenly, he is not just attracted, he is intrigued. He wants to talk longer. He wants to open up. He wants to know more about the woman who made him feel understood in a way he never expected. And tonight, we are stepping into that hidden world. The 5 questions men secretly love answering, the questions that stir emotion, build mystery, and create a connection that lingers in his thoughts long after the conversation ends. Stay with me, because one simple question, asked at the right moment, can change everything. There is a question so simple yet so deeply powerful that when a woman asks it with genuine curiosity, something quiet begins to shift inside a man. The question is this: what's something you're proud of that nobody really knows? On the surface, it sounds innocent, soft, thoughtful, almost casual, but underneath, it touches a place many men rarely get the chance to speak from. You see, most men spend their lives being measured by what the world can easily see, how much they earn, how confident they appear, how strong they look under pressure, how well they carry responsibility, how often they keep moving even when life feels heavy on their shoulders. The world notices results, but it rarely notices sacrifice. It celebrates victories, but often overlooks the silent battles fought in the dark, the lonely moments of discipline, the heartbreak quietly endured, the promises kept when no one was watching, and the strength it took to keep standing when everything inside him wanted to give up. That is why this question matters. Because when you ask a man what he is quietly proud of, you are not asking for performance. You are asking for truth. You are inviting him to reveal the hidden chapter of his story, the part he almost never shares, not because it is unimportant, but because very few people ever cared enough to ask. Maybe he is proud that he helped his family through a difficult season without complaining. Maybe he is proud that he walked away from a life that was pulling him in the wrong direction. Maybe he is proud that he stayed kind after being hurt, stayed honest when lying would have been easier, or kept going when life tested every piece of his strength. And when he begins to speak about that hidden pride, listen not only to his words, but to the feeling behind them. Listen to the slight pause before he answers, the softness in his voice, the quiet honesty that appears when he realizes this is not small talk, this is connection. This is the moment he feels seen, not for what he displays, but for who he truly is beneath the surface. And here is what makes that deeply attractive. Men remember the people who make them feel understood. They remember the rare conversations that touched something real inside them. They remember the woman who looked beyond image, beyond charm, beyond surface confidence, and saw the deeper man within. That kind of emotional depth is magnetic. It creates a pull stronger than forced flirting, stronger than rehearsed lines, stronger than shallow attention. Because when you make someone feel truly known, you become unforgettable. So ask him what he is quietly proud of. Ask gently. Ask sincerely. And when he answers, hold space for his truth like it matters, because to him it does. In that moment, you are not just having a conversation. You are opening a door to a level of connection most people never reach. There is another question that reaches straight past small talk and touches the fire inside a man, the part of him that feels passion, hunger, purpose, and deep excitement for life. The question is this: what makes you feel truly alive? It sounds simple, but hidden inside those few words is something powerful. because every man has a part of himself that comes alive when he speaks about what moves him. The sad truth is, most conversations never reach that place. They stay trapped in routine, work, daily stress, responsibilities, surface level chatter that fills silence but never touches the soul, and over time, many men stop talking about what truly excites them because life teaches them to focus only on what must be done, not what makes them feel deeply alive. But when a woman asks this question with warmth, interest, and genuine curiosity, she does something rare. She invites him back into the most passionate part of himself. Suddenly, his energy changes, his eyes become brighter, his voice gains strength. He speaks with feeling, not habit. Maybe what makes him feel alive is building something meaningful with his own hands, chasing a dream he has carried quietly for years, traveling freely with no plan but adventure, competing, creating, leading, protecting the people he loves, or standing in a moment where he feels fully present, fully challenged, and fully himself. For some men, it may be a quiet life, peace, purpose, family, meaningful work, and deep connection. For others, it may be ambition, risk, movement, and the thrill of becoming more than who they were yesterday. Whatever his answer is, what matters is this. You are hearing the heartbeat of who he is beneath duty and routine. You are meeting the version of him that feels most real, and that creates connection on a completely different level. Because people naturally feel drawn to those who awaken something meaningful inside them. When a woman asks a man what makes him feel alive, she is not just learning about him. She is making him reconnect with passion he may have buried under responsibility and stress. That feeling becomes emotionally linked to her presence. He starts to associate her with depth, energy, and inspiration. He feels understood in a way that feels rare, refreshing, and deeply attractive. And here is where many women miss the deeper magic. Do not interrupt his passion with quick judgment, comparison, or turning the conversation back toward yourself. Let him stay in that moment. Let him speak freely. Let him feel your attention. Men are deeply affected by women who know how to truly listen, especially when they speak about something that lights them up from within. That kind of listening feels intimate without being physical. It feels feminine, calm, and captivating. It makes him feel respected, valued, and emotionally safe enough to reveal more of himself. And once a man feels that with you, your presence begins to feel different from everyone else. You are no longer just another conversation. You're the woman who made him feel alive simply by asking the right question and truly caring about the answer. There is a question that goes deeper than charm, deeper than playful teasing, and deeper than the kind of conversations most people have every day. It is soft, thoughtful, and quietly powerful. The question is this: what's something you wish more people understood about you? And when asked with warmth and genuine curiosity, it can open a door inside a man that very few people ever get to walk through. Because the truth is, many men move through life carrying silent misunderstandings. The world often sees only what is on the surface: the strong face, the calm voice, the quiet nature, the steady way he handles pressure, but rarely stops to ask what is happening underneath. Some men are seen as distant when in reality they are simply careful with their emotions. Some are called cold when they are actually protecting a soft heart that has been hurt before. Some are seen as too serious when deep down they are carrying heavy responsibilities that never leave their mind. And some men smile, joke, and appear perfectly fine, while quietly feeling exhausted from always having to be strong for everyone around them. What they often long for is simple: not pity, not praise, but understanding. To be known correctly, to be seen for who they truly are, not for the version people quickly assume. That is why this question is so powerful. It gives him permission to reveal the quiet truth he rarely says out loud. Maybe he wishes people understood how deeply he cares, even if he struggles to express it. Maybe he wishes people knew that his silence does not mean he feels nothing. It often means he feels too much and does not know how to put it into words. Maybe he wishes others understood the pressure he carries, the private battles he fights, or the way he keeps going even when life feels heavy on his shoulders. And when he begins to answer, something beautiful happens. His guard lowers, not because he is weak, but because he senses he is in the presence of someone who wants truth, not performance. Someone who is not just listening to reply, but listening to understand. That feeling is rare, and rare things leave deep impressions. This is where emotional connection becomes powerful, because when a man feels understood, he feels peace. He feels relief. He feels like he can stop wearing armor for a moment and simply be himself. And peace is deeply attractive. Not loud attraction, not fast attraction. Something stronger, quiet, lasting, meaningful attraction built on trust and emotional closeness. A woman who creates that space becomes unforgettable because she offers something many people never do, real understanding. She becomes the place where he does not have to explain himself again and again. The place where he feels accepted without pretending, and in a world where so many connections stay shallow, that kind of depth feels magnetic. So ask him what he wishes people understood about him. Ask gently, ask when the moment feels calm and real, and when he speaks, do not rush to fix, judge, or compare, simply understand. Because sometimes the strongest bond is built in a quiet moment when someone finally feels truly seen for who they are beneath everything the world assumes. There is a question that reaches into the deepest part of a man's drive, the part of him that thinks about tomorrow, carries quiet ambition, and dreams about the life he wants to build, even when he rarely speaks about it out loud. The question is this: what kind of life are you really trying to build? And when a woman asks this with real interest, not casually, not as empty conversation, but with calm curiosity and genuine attention, something powerful happens inside him. Because beneath routine, beneath daily responsibilities, beneath the pressure of work, money, and expectations, many men are quietly carrying a vision, a picture in their mind of the life they hope to create. It may be success, but often it is much deeper than that. It may be peace, freedom, a strong family, a meaningful career, a home filled with warmth, the ability to protect and provide, a life built on purpose, not just survival. For some men, it is creating something lasting, a business, a legacy, a path that changes not only their own future, but the future of the people they love. For others, it is simpler but no less powerful to wake up feeling proud of the man in the mirror, to live with dignity, to love deeply, to be respected, and to build a life that feels honest and real. What makes this question so magnetic is that it speaks directly to his vision, the part of him that wants more from life, the part that quietly refuses to settle, the part that keeps pushing even when no one notices the effort. And when he begins talking about that vision, listen closely, because this is not just conversation, this is revelation. You begin to see what drives him, what matters to him, what kind of future he longs for, and what kind of man he is trying to become. His dreams reveal his values, his goals reveal his heart, his vision reveals his character. And here is something deeply attractive that many women overlook. Men are drawn toward women who make them feel understood in their purpose, not pressured in their progress. There is a difference. Pressure feels heavy. Understanding feels inspiring. When a woman listens to a man speak about his future with belief in her eyes, warmth in her energy, and genuine curiosity in her questions, she awakens something strong inside him. The desire to rise higher, dream bigger, and become more of who he knows he can be. That kind of feminine presence is unforgettable because it does not pull him away from purpose. It quietly strengthens it. He begins to associate her presence with clarity, encouragement, and emotional peace, and that creates a connection that feels deep, mature, and rare. So ask him what kind of life he is really trying to build. Not the polished answer he gives the world, the real answer, the honest one, the dream he carries quietly when he is alone with his thoughts. Because when a man feels safe enough to share his vision, he is showing you one of the most intimate parts of who he is, the future he hopes to create, and the man he is fighting every day to become. And when you truly see that, you are no longer just hearing his words, you are seeing into his soul. There is one final question, and it may be the most powerful of them all, because it reaches past confidence, past ambition, past the strong face a man shows the world, and gently touches the place every human being carries deep inside, the need to feel loved in a way that feels real. The question is this: When do you feel most loved? It is soft, it is intimate without crossing lines, and it invites honesty in a way that catches many men off guard because so few people ever ask what truly reaches their heart. Most people assume they know what men want. They think it is admiration, attention, or surface attraction. But beneath all of that, many men are quietly longing for something deeper: connection, respect, warmth, loyalty, trust, and the feeling that they matter not only for what they do, but for who they are. Some men feel most loved when someone believes in them, especially in moments when they are doubting themselves. Some feel loved through quiet support, the kind that says, "I'm with you," without needing grand words. Others feel deeply loved through appreciation, through gentle affection, through honest conversation, through being respected for their effort, or simply through peace. The rare feeling of being with someone around whom they do not have to pretend, perform, or constantly prove themselves. And that is what makes this question so powerful. It invites him to reveal the language of his heart. It helps you understand what truly nourishes him emotionally, what makes him feel close, what makes him feel valued, and what kind of connection means the most to him. But more than that, it makes him pause and reflect on something he may not have put into words before. He begins to think about what love really feels like to him, not what looks good on the outside, but what touches him deeply on the inside. And in that moment, you become associated with emotional depth, with sincerity, with a kind of connection that feels rare in a noisy world full of shallow conversations. That creates real closeness. Because the strongest attraction is not built only on excitement, it is built on emotional understanding. It is built on feeling safe, valued, and genuinely known. When a woman asks this question with softness and truly listens, not to impress, not to manipulate, but simply to understand, she creates something magnetic. She becomes memorable because she made him feel something most people never do: emotionally seen. He begins to feel that being around her is calming, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling, and people naturally move toward what makes them feel understood and at peace. So ask him gently when he feels most loved. Listen to what he says, and listen even more closely to what he means, because hidden in that answer is the map to his heart, the quiet truth of what connection means to him, and the deeper emotional world he rarely reveals. And when a man opens that part of himself to you, it is no longer just conversation. It becomes a bond that reaches beyond attraction and touches something lasting, sincere, and unforgettable. And now you understand something many people spend years never learning. Real connection is rarely built through perfect words, flashy charm, or trying too hard to be unforgettable. More often, it is built in quiet moments, in thoughtful questions, in the kind of conversation that makes someone feel deeply seen, deeply heard, and deeply understood. The truth is, when you know how to speak to a man's heart, not by chasing attention, but by creating genuine connection, you awaken something powerful. You become more than attractive. You become memorable. More than that, you become the kind of presence that feels rare in a world full of surface-level interactions. And that quiet power is magnetic. So the next time you are talking with a man, do not rush to fill every silence or impress him with perfect words. Instead, lean into curiosity. Ask what truly matters. Listen with warmth. Hold eye contact a little longer. Let your feminine calm, confidence, and genuine interest do what forced effort never can. Create a connection that feels real, because sometimes the question you ask becomes the reason he cannot stop thinking about you. Sometimes one meaningful conversation creates more emotional pull than months of shallow attention ever could. And that is where lasting attraction begins. Not in pretending to be someone else, but in learning the timeless art of making another person feel understood. If this message spoke to you, if it made you think differently about attraction, connection, and the quiet strength you already carry, then stay with me, because there is so much more to uncover about the hidden language of human connection. And before you go, tell me in the comments, which of these 5 questions would you ask first, and why?